Welcome to our presentation regarding middle childhood.
Middle childhood is defined as ages 6 to 11 years old. Biosocial, psychosocial, cognitive, and physical development are the major concepts that become more prominent as a child in middle childhood continues to develop. This developmental stage plays a key role in building foundational skills that carry on into their adolescent and adulthood years.
Theories of development in middle childhood. Piaget's theory for development in middle childhood centralizes on concrete operational thought and the ability to think logically. Early childhood, classified by pre-operational intelligence, is a time when many of the cognitive tasks achieved in middle childhood are still impossible due to lack of logical reasoning. During middle childhood, concrete operational thought is marked by thought processes such as classification, conservation, reversibility, and serration. All important skills required to begin understanding mathematics. Vygotsky also has a take on the thought processes of children during middle childhood. The way he differs from Piaget is Vygotsky stresses the need for instruction and mentorship. He talks about the zone of proximal development, which includes tasks, skills, and ideas that are within the realm of being learned if mentors provide assistance, motivation, and teaching. Vygotsky explains a scaffolding, which is a temporary support that is tailored to a learner's needs and abilities and aimed at helping the learner master the next task in a given learning process. For Vygotsky, learning depends on the scaffolding approach, and while there are certain things that children in middle childhood develop and learn, they cannot fully develop those things alone. Kohlberg's pre-conventional moral reasoning is all about self-seeking and self-sustaining behavior, centered around rewards and punishment. Stage 1 is about avoiding punishment while advancing self-interest. It's only wrong if you get caught. During Stage 2, children do things with the anticipation of a reward. If Stage 1 is about avoiding punishment, Stage 2 is about seeking reward. According to Kohlberg, sometime during middle childhood, children shift from pre-conventional moral reasoning, which is similar to pre-operational thought, to conventional moral reasoning. When children enter Stage 3, they still exhibit some of the behaviors as in Stage 2, but their motivation has shifted. Striving for a social approval has replaced desire for a reward. It is in this stage that many children become more self-conscious, aware of other people's opinions, and more susceptible to peer pressure. In Stage 4, children begin to respect and adhere to rules out of reverence for authority. Level 3 of Kohlberg's moral reasoning theory includes Stage 5, understanding of and adherence to a social contract. We follow rules because it leads to a better functioning society. This gives more meaning to morality beyond doing the right thing because you are told to or simply because it is right. Stage 6 is the most advanced and almost never reached in children in middle childhood. Most people don't even reach Stage 5 until adolescence or adulthood. Stage 6 relies on universal ethical principles, going beyond the situation at hand and exploring moral and ethical truths that go beyond a particular person, group, or culture. Erikson's psychological theory denotes the stage industry versus inferiority, defining the period of time between the ages of 6 and 12. There are many new skills to be learned and responsibilities to take on in middle childhood. Success in these areas gives children a sense of industry, while failure or struggle can lead to feelings of inferiority. During this stage, self-pride depends not necessarily on actual accomplishments, but on how others view one's accomplishments, which is reminiscent of Kohlberg's Stage 3 within his conventional moral reasoning level.
So what is biosocial development? What is the typical middle childhood health? Many children in the middle childhood phase experience disorders such as ADHD, dyslexia, and autism spectrum disorder. In recent years, the U.S. education system has paid more attention to children with these disabilities, and they have put together programs such as IEPs, making sure every student is getting the education they deserve. For the biosocial application, I really wanted to focus on IEPs and if they really help disabled learners. So what do IEPs really consist of? Although an IEP may seem like a decent solution, sometimes the process of creating them can be too time-consuming, consist up to too many pages, and be stressful and complex for both the teachers and parents trying to meet. Also, IEPs haven't significantly impacted disabled children's education as seen in these statistics. And although some of these statistics are aimed towards high school students, it shows that if we had better solutions while the child was in elementary school, maybe these statistics would be lower. Better solutions do exist. Parents and teachers are going to have to communicate and negotiate more than ever and implement these solutions.
Our next healthcare application is the psychosocial application, where we will be discussing how friends and family time affect middle childhood development. Family needs. It is said that children only need 5 things from their families, no matter what type of family that may be. One of the greatest needs of middle children is time to play. Although only briefly mentioned in the textbook, I felt it was important to focus on how recess time can make or break a child's future social and academic life. Recess is a worldwide psychosocial risk associated with middle childhood-aged kids, making it also one of the biggest controversies among elementary schools around the world. No one can seem to decide on the appropriate amount of time that should be given to free play during the school day. In the United States, 20 minutes of recess is rewarded on average to elementary school students. If the normal amount of healthy exercise a child should receive is 60 minutes a day, they are only getting a third of the recommended amount of daily activity. The lack of activity is highly correlational to the recent child obesity crisis in America. Child obesity. As child obesity rates increase, the amount of recess offered in schools decreases. Children are being forced to study more in the classroom and are therefore being deprived of the necessary social time they need to develop, particularly in their age group. As children play with older children at recess, it gives them the opportunity to learn the customs associated with their age. Recess is an important time for kids to practice their friendships. And unfortunately but true, bullying occurs most of the time out of sight of teachers and other school staff. Although bullying can be harmful to many children, it also gives them a chance to be resilient. In this graph, we see how obesity rates have increased over the past 16 years. Obesity in youth has gone up 4%. There are many things that we could do for our kids.
Cognitive healthcare and how kids think.
Concrete operational stage is Piaget's third stage of cognitive development. In this stage, children begin to use methods of thinking such as reasoning to solve a problem. There is no specific order in which these stages occur. Seriation is the ability to sort objects according to their characteristics. Transitivity is a form of inferential reasoning. Decentering is where children take into account many aspects in order to solve a problem. Conservation is the ability to see that objects or quantities stay the same despite a change in their physical appearance. Reversibility is the ability to recognize that things can be changed and turned into their original condition. Classification is being able to sort or coordinate several characteristics instead of focusing on just one. During middle childhood, the brain matures more, resulting in connections of various lobes and regions in the brain. Brain connections formed during this stage is crucial. Consider reading. Reading is not as easy as gesturing or talking for the brain. There are several different parts of the brain that need to be used in order to be able to read. These connections in the brain allow for reading to be possible along with other non-instinctual subjects. Memory is both affected by both experience and maturation. During the middle childhood, sensory memory improves a little until the age of 10. Working memory is information processing and improves in the middle childhood stage. Long-term memory also increases, and once working memory enters to the long-term memory, a stimulus is no longer required. Control processes improve with age and experience. During this stage, attention span increases and their ability to ignore distractions and become more focused improves. Metacognition is described as thinking about thinking. Language plays a huge role in the development of children. Excelling in language allows children to come up with and understand ways to express themselves.
Thank you for listening to our presentation on middle childhood.